everybody. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, and I'm the host of Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my channel, and thank you guys for joining me yesterday. I did not mean to come on live. That was not my intention. I happened to be playing with my equipment, and the video popped on. So I said, well, since it's already on, let me just have a conversation with you guys. So thank you so much for allowing me to be myself. Thank you so much for allowing me to be big sister, auntie, and just coming and chit-chatting with you guys, just like we're sitting around at the house in the living room and talking to you guys. That's what makes it fun doing what I do, because I want you guys to feel comfortable, to know that we're family and we're a tribe, and whatever way we're going to come on the video is how we're going to come on the video, because everybody learns differently. And so today I wanted to talk about less. I haven't got a name for the video yet, so by the time you're watching the video, there's going to be a name for the video. But I wanted to focus on this baby man or this baby woman that you've been dating or that you were married to, that you have kids by. Yep, I said it, the baby man or the baby woman, because that's what they are, baby men and baby women. They're in chronologically, they're a specific age, and they have grown folk responsibilities, and some of them struggle with it. Now, some of them actually pay bills and have built a fortune and everything, but in actuality, as you get to know them, which some of you have, as you get to know them and the more you listen to them as they talk and the way that they live, you'll notice that emotionally, they're a child. The way that they respond, their responses are that of a child. Their emotions are that of a child. And the longer you listen to them, even some of their rationale as it leaks out, you know, and you listen and you pay particular close attention to what they're saying, you begin to notice, like, you're kind of ignorant. You're not as smart as I thought you were. Keep in mind when you're dealing, and I want to humanize the narcissist. Let me humanize the narcissist for a minute, because that is a person. It is a person. Some of you guys say, no, that's a demon. Well, a demon is not a person. A demon can possess and can oppress and take over the soul realm, but they're still a human being that has been traumatized. Now, they may not have been traumatized in the sense of what you think trauma should be, but they have been traumatized somewhere in their childhood. And remember, narcissists, most people have asked, you know, do you think that I'm a narcissist? Do you think that by being with a narcissist, I became a narcissist? You can't become a narcissist. Your personality develops from birth onto a particular age, because you notice that narcissistic personality disorder is not diagnosed until you're probably about 18, 19, 20 years old. That's when that personality is permanently affixed. You know, it is permanent. It's not going to change, but it's so strong in its development that if I believe, now this is just my opinion, this is not my professional opinion, well, kind of professional opinion, this is my personal opinion, and I haven't, you know, I have to go do more research. You know, there are other people that are researchers, they're still researching the topic. I believe if you can catch it, most people don't know what they're looking for, but if you can catch it in its developmental stages while they're still young, and you can alter that, then you can alter the development of that personality. That's why it's so important to get them into therapy. Now, this is just my belief. We have to research it some more just to see if I can validate my belief. It's a theory. But I believe that if you can catch them in their developmental stages early on, that there's a possibility that you should be able to, or you can alter the development of a dysfunctional personality. But most of us don't know what we're looking at. Well, didn't know what we were looking at. Most of you don't know what you're looking at. You see what I mean? But this, when a child is born, from the time that they develop that personality, you know, that is called the developmental stages. There are certain mile marks that they have to accomplish in order to develop into a healthy human being with a healthy personality, basically. A person can be traumatized, and for some, they have been sexually molested, they have been physically abused, they have been verbally abused, maybe not physically, but verbally abused, neglected, rejected. What about parents that are on drugs and alcohol? Or what about parents that are in the home, but they're neglectful? And when I say neglectful, maybe they're not neglectful on purpose. Maybe they're involved with the narcissist, and they're so focused on chasing the narcissist that they neglect emotionally protecting the child. And so when a child, even a golden child is still abused, because you have to think, when we become older, there are things that happen because of trauma and severe stress that becomes evident, such as psychotic breaks. A person can have, they just lose it. You have a panic attack, you have a psychotic break, you have what we call a nervous breakdown. You may have a psychotic break where you don't know where you're at. You lose you lose your reality for a minute because your mind can only handle so much stress. Now imagine that as an adult. A child does not develop that way. So imagine how much more stress that is for a child to be in a home where they're having to fend for themselves. They're constantly in feelings of fight, flight, or freeze. They're constantly in a feeling of danger. Or if they have a narcissistic parent or a parent that grooms them that way, there is no empathy or compassion or emotional transference between the two of them. So there is no love or feelings of safety or feelings of, nurturing from that parent. The parent's mindset might be, I made sure that you had a roof over your head, you had clothes on your back, you had education, you had food to eat. What more do you want from me? Well, there's more to parenthood than just the basic essentials to live. Children need nurturing. They also need love. They need to be made to feel that they are relevant, they're important, that you are safe, and whatever mom or daddy can do. But a narcissist is not. They'll say it, but there is no, I apologize. Make sure it's still recording. But there is no connection, no emotional connection between the two, because a narcissist cannot emotionally connect to anybody. You may think they do, and it may feel that way to you, but they don't emotionally connect. Some of you have made love or had sex with a narcissist, and they're just watching you as you go through the oohs and the ahs and the antics, and you, in your mind, you have created this, you have tricked your own mind into thinking they're watching me enjoy myself, and they are pleased, and they'll probably tell you, I get more pleasure out of watching you. They're staring at you while you're going through the oohs and the ahs. They're staring at you because they're trying to absorb and figure out how to act. You're teaching them how to act. You're teaching them what to do, and they're staring at you. And a lot of times they're staring at you because they don't feel that passion that you feel. They feel the sexual part. Of course, the sex can be gratifying, and the release of it, the release of the sex can be gratifying. But all the compassion and that feeling that you get along with the sexual encounter is not what they feel. They don't feel what you feel. So they're watching you because they're trying to pick up on how they're supposed to act. What are they supposed to say? How am I supposed to move? If I do this, she does this, or he does this. So it's that narcissistic stare, and that narcissistic stare, and this is a data. They're collecting data. They're collecting information. But let me go back to the developmental stages of a child. Anytime a child's developmental stages has been impacted, and especially when in the development of narcissistic personality disorder, a child has been traumatized. Even if they're the golden child, think about it. How much stress can it be for one person to have to be perfect for a parent to hope or I'm trying to win your affection. I'm trying to win your love. I'm trying to prove myself to you. Please love me. And so the child is living a life of always having to be perfect or being the way that narcissist says so they can get a reward. And that reward is, I give you some affection. I give you some attention or conversation. So imagine the stress level that child is under, the stress that child is under, to a point where you may have a psychotic episode, but a young child like that, all of a sudden something breaks and they turn inward because the world is no longer safe. People cannot be trusted. My own family and parents cannot be trusted. And so I'm going to turn inward, and I will figure out a way to feed my ego, to make me feel better. And the way that I'm going to feel better is to make people do what I want them to do. And they start getting practice because they get practice with their parents to manipulate kids, manipulate their parents. That's just what kids do, as they get older, and you teach them better. But think about some of you guys that have been in a relationship with a narcissist. No, narcissistic personality disorder cannot be transferred. That is trauma that you're experiencing. And when you get out of a relationship with a narcissist, a lot of you mirror their behaviors and you're traumatized, but that doesn't mean it jumped on you and now you have narcissistic personality disorder. It doesn't work that way. But for a child, they withdraw into themselves. And some of you, if you think about it, I want something from you. I want you to talk to me. I want you to answer my question. I want you to give me something. And if you don't, then I'm going to manipulate your emotions to try to force you to give me what it is I'm asking for. And if you don't do it, I'm going to dog you. I'm going to smear campaign you. I'm going to dog you out. I'm going to gaslight you. Some of you guys do that, and you're not even a narcissist. You have learned that because you were in a relationship with a narcissist and they did you that way. And so a lot of people would do, especially public figures or people that, you'll see that. I wish I could post some of these emails, but if you don't get what you want, they'll turn into the gaslighting, the harassing, or the negative words, and you think you're all that, and you think, and if they can't get what they want, they'll manipulate. So imagine this is happening for that child. Now they have turned inward. Now they begin to develop narcissistic personality disorder because they're in training mode. And in training mode, they notice, to get my needs met, I have to do this and I have to play on people's emotion. And if I play on people's emotion and they get better with it and better with it and better with it until they get locked into themselves. The chemicals in your brain or the way that you function has to be nurtured. Empathy has to be nurtured. Compassion has to be nurtured. Has to be taught. You have to, don't hit the puppy. That's mean. Look, see if you tap, that's an owie, right? Soft touch. Don't do that. I. In Germany, you say I means soft touch. I, soft touch. So you're teaching the children that. But a child is not being taught that. How do they keep replicating? How do they reciprocate that? Because empathy, you teach it and then it's reciprocated. You keep doing it and it becomes a habit. So, I a lot of times I drive down the highway and I see a car broke down and I see somebody getting out trying to call someone. And the first thing I say is like, now I'm not an empath, but I do have empathy. And the first thing I say is like, man, I know what that feels like. Oh man, God help them. I know what that feels like because I got empathy. I know what that feels like to have a car breakdown. You know what I mean? That's empathy. You can relate to somebody else's. That doesn't mean that you feel it, but I can relate, dang, I know what that feels like. With a child, they don't know what it feels like because it's not been taught to them. You talking to a child and you're telling them, now imagine if somebody were to do that to you. Imagine if someone embarrassed you. Remember when this happened to you? Remember how you felt? And they can correlate the two. And they're like, yeah, that didn't feel too good. Imagine when you were doing this. Imagine if someone did that. How do you think you would feel? Yeah, you're right. I would feel bad. But you're correlating. A child that's developing narcissism, they're cutting off the outside world. And all they're concerned about is their own pain. All they're concerned about is making sure that they feel better. And they start to feel better by watching other people hurt or by manipulating people to get what they want. And so this personality disorder is developing. But think about it, the point of trauma, at the time of the trauma, 5, 6, 7, 10 years old. Now we fast forward into the future, you're with a narcissist. And in your mind, you have created a relationship. You're quick to jump in a relationship. You're quick to have a relationship. And in your mind, you give them the benefit of the doubt without checking the data. How you checking? You're not checking the data. You're not watching the characteristics. You're not watching how do they treat their ex-husband or their ex-wife? How do they handle their children? You seem a little manipulative. How do you handle your parents? How do you handle your siblings? Let me listen to you. Is it always somebody's fault? Are you always the one that people are attacking? Are people always jealous of you? What role do you play in this? Okay, they'll give you just enough information. You know what? I admit my faults. This is what I did in the relationship. Now check this out. There are some secondary supplies that the primary supply has decided that they're going to leave the narcissist. The narcissists know the discard is coming, so they're trying to pull in the secondary supply. And now they're telling that secondary supply, you right. I'm going to admit it, throughout the marriage, I did this and I did that. And I admit, I know that he doesn't trust me or she doesn't trust me. And, I admit, but they never have forgiven me for anything that I have done. And, and it's just not working. Now think about it. They're still married. And they're having a conversation with you about all the things that they've done, and they know that they made a mistake, but I'm a changed man, I'm a changed woman, and they don't see my qualities, and this is. Well, for the new supply, for some of you guys that were new supply, you just totally dismissed the fact you're still married. And while it doesn't matter whether you are separated or it doesn't matter whether you are in the process of or it's complicated, until you get your mess taken care of, you need to get your mess taken care of. And you come see me, if it's meant to be, you come see me after you handle that mess. But why would you step into mess? Some of you have stepped into mess. And so they've already told you what their character was like. They told you, I'm a changed man. I'm a changed woman. No, what they're telling you is I know the game a little better this time. I'm changed because I know the game a little better, so I won't get caught this time. That's what they tell you. You got to listen, but some of you guys dismiss that. It's a wonderful person. You dismiss, you don't look at the character. You're looking at the aesthetics. You're looking at the materialistic things, and you go right past the character, and you go, let me watch you. Let me pay attention to you. Let me see what your character, and a narcissist is always going to slip. Now, some of you have been in a relationship for a while or in a marriage for a while, and guess what happens? When that mask slipped, then you begin to see the baby man or the baby woman that they really are. You get to see them because emotionally they are not mature. Emotionally they are not mature. Even how they respond to certain things, they're not mature. Every single narcissist, even the greater narcissist is capable of hiding it better than anybody else. They're a master at the art of manipulation. They're master at the art of narcissistic personality disorder. They know how to fly under the radar and not. They're good because they have mastered it. They have mastered it. But on the core inside of that individual, they are immature, undeveloped baby man or baby woman. And and you watch them long enough, some of you guys know now that, hindsight is 2020. Now when you look back, you can listen to some of the things that they said. You met them, they were just so intelligent. Oh my gosh, this is such an intelligent person. This is it, because they were feeding off of you. And so, and you're listening to your own self talking. And so they're feeding off this is an intelligent individual. Remember, when they first met you, they didn't know anything about you. So the way that they presented themselves from the old supply, the attributes of the old supply, because they needed to get in there. And really, even though you may hate the old supply, you really fell in love with the old supply first. That was the representative. Then when they got their foot into the door with you, they begin to mirror you. And so some of you don't even like yourselves. But then you're thinking but he or she was so intelligent and had such great conversation and their sense of humor was awesome. You're looking at your own self. All the things you disliked about yourself, they presented to you and you liked yourself. So for those of you that got self-hatred, you liked yourself when they presented yourself to yourself, But as you watch them and their mask slides off, sometimes it doesn't slide off all the way, it kind of slides and you look like, wait a minute. And as you get to know them, some of you got to know them to a point where you're they're not as intelligent as they present themselves. They're manipulative and they're charismatic, but they're not as smart. Some of them are cerebral. Some of them are intellectual. But even in the intellectual, you'll notice how they use their intellect to manipulate. That lets you know that the person is immature. They use that intellect and some of you guys have never met anybody that intellectual. That means you got to rise up to the occasion. But normally when you rise up to the occasion and you start to grow, and then you look back, be like, you aren't, I always said, the smartest dumb person I've ever met in my life. You're just manipulative and charismatic. You know how to manipulate people and get them under that spell and with that gaslighting to get people to believe. But I see beyond that. I see who you really are. And who you are is this little child that never developed. And you have these temper tantrums and you're a liar, and you're a cheat. And you're never satisfied with yourself. And so anybody that has faults, when you idolize them and then after you find out that they have faults, you hate them because it's a reminder that you're a human being and not a God. So hopefully this has helped you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for those of you that have subscribed to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you share it. People need to hear this. You never know who's watching these videos. Thank you so much for interacting with me as well. For those of you that are looking for a counselor and you're out of the state of Washington, you can go to BetterHelp.com/Dr. Carmen. It is a vetted service. It has been vetted. And they do pay me a fee for referral. So I do get a referral fee. And at the same time, many people have said some amazing things about the counselors that are with BetterHelp.com. And a lot of them are very aware of the trauma, the relationships with a narcissist. And sometimes you just have to ask the question. Sometimes you don't want to give the answer. You want to ask the question. Do you understand toxic relationships? Do you understand trauma? Do you understand the after effects of emotional abuse? And when you tell them the story, someone will say, that sounds like narcissism. That sounds like narcissistic personality disorder or narcissist abuse. Some of them will tell you, You have the right to vet the counselor. One size doesn't fit all. And that is they charge you a nominal fee. And then if you hit my link, BetterHelp.com/Dr. Carmen, they'll give you a 10% discount. Those of you that are having some financial difficulties, let them know they will assist you. And for some people, they do provide grants. So, you never know. Ask, you need help, go get the help. I do provide coaching services. My appointments fill up very fast. I do provide coaching services. You're welcome to email me at drcarmenbryant@outlook.com for more information and for my fees. Do know that I've been given discounted rates for about a year or so. But I'm now developing my programs and putting my courses, getting my website developed and getting my courses together. So you guys have to get ready that my prices are going back up to its regular price. And then I have coaching programs and courses that you can purchase and you can get trained. And some of you guys need it. Some of you guys need counseling before you get coaching though. But thank you guys so much. Make sure you check out my mother's channel. It is Helen Sadler, Your Destiny Helper on YouTube. You can get the spiritual and biblical perspective of those with narcissistic personality disorder. I'm a believer too. I confess my faith, but I usually stay focused on the clinical, experiential, and I bring it to you in layman terms so you can understand it. There is a spiritual aspect to it, absolutely, for those that have asked. And you are welcome to go to her site, Helen Sadler, Your Destiny Helper, so that you can get more information on that biblical, spiritual aspect of narcissistic personality disorder. Also, my big sister comes on Wednesdays. My life is intentional. It's Kathy Gibson. My life is intentional. She's on Periscope. Periscope is going away, so you'll probably see her on Facebook and HAPS. But her name is Kathy Gibson, and it is My Life is Intentional. You got to check it out. My little sister is on Mondays, I think at 6 o'clock, and hers is the Quantum Life. I think is Your Quantum Life. And then Apostle Sadler is on at 7:45 in the morning. Her and I are usually on at 7:45 in the morning. I'm on her platform with her, well, sometimes in the audience. But she comes on Mondays at 7:45 Pacific Standard Time. And then I come on live on Sundays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am on Facebook. You guys know I got rid of my professional Facebook page, and now I just have my other professional one, which is Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. So I didn't go anywhere. It was just too many pages to manage. So one is Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. I'm on Instagram, same name, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, Periscope, Twitter. You can find me on HAPS. And I do come on Clubhouse on Sundays as well. And usually I broadcast on all the channels and talk, to the Clubhouse. And then after I finish answering the question, I cut off all the other social medias and I come and engage the audience on Clubhouse. So make sure you guys go get Clubhouse. It's an invite only. So whoever, has got some invitation, ask them to send you an invitation and then come on over and follow me so that you guys can actually have a verbal conversation with me, because I get to talk to you on that platform. But thank you once again. Make sure you check out my book. It's Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. You can find it at Barnes & Nobles. You can find it at Westbow Press for those that are out of country, and Barnes & Noble and Amazon. So once again, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for being here, and you guys go and be great.